and welcome back to How to Have a Successful Cut Flower Season. My name is Liz Lewis. I live in northern Maine, Zone 4, and I have a small farm and I grow cut flowers. And this is part 2 of a little series that I am recording just to help new flower farmers get off on the right foot. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to sow some seeds. I have my freshly treated soil right here. What do I mean by freshly treated? Well, this is part 2 and part 1 of this video series. I treated the soil with boiling water and it is now cooled to the point where I can comfortably touch it with my fingers. There is still a little steam. You can see the steam coming out, but it's not gonna hurt me or the seeds at all. And what I am going to do, because I am in a little bit of a pickle, I have absolutely positively no shelf space or light space left on my grow shelves. But that doesn't mean that seed starting can stop. It just doesn't. We still have to sow the seeds. So in about 2 days, I'm going to be able to, because of weather, that weather, I'm going to be able to take some of the seedlings that are on my grow shelves under the lights and move them out into a little greenhouse that I have in my backyard. I need to wait for some of these windier days to die down, and I need a little bit more sun exposure in order for that to happen. So in about 2 days, I'll be able to do that and then clear out some shelf space on my grow shelves for these things. But like I said, seed starting doesn't stop just because you run out of light space and shelf space anyway. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to plant things that don't require light for germination, which means that they have to be buried into the seed starter and not surface sown. And so that's what I'm going to do right now. The first thing that I'm going to show you is I've already taken some of this treated soil. It's nice and bug-free now. And I've put it in this little chicken tray, and I've taken my finger and I've created trenches, because this is going to be where I'm going to sow my second succession of stock. And then I have my lovely little plug tray where I'm also going to start some of my basil. And I'm going to start some of my, I can't really pronounce this stuff, but it's called Lacy Lavender Blue Didiscus. I don't know, but it's beautiful. I do know that. So I'm going to sow that and some basil, my first succession of basil, into this 72 plug, because both of those and the stalk all require darkness for germination. So filling up these plug trays is not exactly easy, and a lot of people do it wrong. So I'm going to show you how I do it, the reason why I do it this way, and how you're going to be successful with your plugs. So I'm just going to lower this down so you can see what I'm doing. You can't see my face anymore, but I'm sure everybody does this way. You just start pouring the dirt into all the cells, like so. Soil is nice and warm and moist, so it's perfect for starting these seeds. They love that. But a lot of people, and this is one of the reasons why I don't soil block very much, is because a lot of people, like, soil blocks, you really gotta compact the soil and compact it really good in order to get a good soil block that doesn't fall apart every time you add water or whatever, right? But that can cause problems like the poor little seedling not being able to get its roots down into the soil because the soil block is just so tightly packed in. And so I find that when I'm doing my plug trays, okay, I get the initial fill up going, because you don't want air pockets either. right? You want these little cells, these little plug cells, filled all the way to the bottom. You definitely want that because that's how the soil, the seed starter, is going to be able to absorb the water in the watering reservoir up to the seedling's roots and whatnot, especially in the beginning when the seedling doesn't have very big roots. Now, this looks all great and dandy. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to gently, I'm not going to really poke. I'm just going to gently push to make sure that my seed starting mix is reaching the bottom of each cell and I don't have any air pockets. Okay? And now, as you can see, I've created, these plugs, these cells here are actually only about half full now. I have not pushed hard, and I'm just now going to add a little bit more to fill them back up. And voila. I have nice, full plugs, but they're not so jam-packed that the roots of the seedling are, when they're growing, they like push up because they're unable to get down. If you hear background noise, my husband is downstairs sanding something. And I don't know what, probably the car, I don't know. But, and there we have it. And so my plug tray is nice and full. Any big pieces of stick or wood chip or whatever that you find in there you want to pull out. And now this plug tray is ready for seeds. So let me wash my hands real quick, move my screen, and then I'll talk to you a little bit about that. My hands are never really clean anymore, but anyway. So, super easy. I really do hope that if you're a flower farmer, you know how to sow seeds into soil. You do need to follow the directions on your packet. I do suggest, even if you don't buy your seeds from John A. Seeds, I definitely do suggest going onto their website, clicking on the plant that you're growing, and reading the growing instructions because they're very detailed and they give you plenty of information on there, so that way you're not, making a huge mistake right from the start. So this on here says I need to succession plant it every 2 to 3 weeks from spring through summer. I only have 100 seeds. Usually Johnny's gives you a few more than 100. I only have 100 seeds. That's okay. But I will, I'm going to start these, and I'm only going to do about 25 seeds. I want to succession plant this 4 times. And it said every 2 to 3 weeks. Oh, and they're nice big seeds. Fantastic. That makes it super easy. I usually take like one of these little bowls and dump them in. And I also, where's my pencil? Oh, there it is. I also poke a hole because it says on the packet that cover seeds as darkness aids germination. So it does not, 1/8 of an inch deep, so not very deep, but they do need to be covered. So I'm just going to make a little indentation in each of my little cells here, and then I will be able to cover easily enough. See, the soil on top is nice and fluffy, so it's easy for me to move around. That's 24 cells, so that's perfect. I'll put 1 seed per cell. Now you might be saying, you're crazy only putting 1 seed per cell, but you know what? Johnny's has really good quality product, and I hardly ever run into a situation where I've sown a whole tray of something and had 5 or 6, things germinate, and the whole rest of the tray is empty real estate, because we all know that stinks. But Johnny's is really, really good about that. So I'm not even going to worry about it. I trust one little seed per cell is going to be just fine. And I'm almost done. I got 5 more to go. Super fast. Following the directions. Oops, I just put 2 in that one. I just put 2 in that one. Let's fix that. Oh, here goes my dog, because my son just went outside. Just AJ, bud. All right, one more. Okay, I love big seeds. Look how big they are. Love it. Okay, so this is succession 1. And so when I label this, I'm gonna make sure I label it as Lacy. What am I gonna call it? Lacy Blue. I'll call it Lacy Blue. I don't know what it is. So Lacy Blue. And I'm going to put succession S1. I know what that means. And I'm going to put today's date, which is what? I don't even know. What's today's date? 20th, maybe? 420? Okay. And there we go. And I'm going to put that right there. I always label right away so I don't forget. Okay? And then I'm just going to cover. Super fast, super easy. There, doesn't need a lot of soil, nice and loose. But darkness aids germination. Now this says it takes 14, what does it say? 14 to 21 days for germination. Not unusual. I find though, because I'm doing this in my house, that I always have faster germination. I don't use heat mats or anything ever, but I usually always have really quick germination. And then I'm going to spray it in. Oops! Who was messing with my squirter? Probably the kid that just walked into the... He always messes with it. When I say kid, he's 18, but still acts like he's 8 sometimes. And I'm going to water this in really, really well, even though this is moistened soil. Once I put plastic wrap on this, I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to water it. I'm not going to go anywhere near it for at least a week. I won't even look at it for at least a week. Darkness aids germination. They're not going to go under the shelf or under the lights. They're just going to go in a place in a corner. But believe me, I won't forget about them. So, now that is done, I'm going to do Mrs. Burns Lemon Basil. Now, you gotta read the directions. I mean, I've grown this before, but still. So, if you're gonna direct seed, germinates best at 65 to 70 degrees. It's exactly what my temperature is in my house. Plant seeds 1/4 of an inch deep, 2 to 3 seeds per inch. Okay, so I'm gonna do probably 2 seeds per cell then. That's for after I put them outside. So, indoors 6 weeks prior to setting out, I'm right there, 1/4 inch deep. Transplant to field when seedlings have 3 to 4 sets of leaves. Okay, easy. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So I'm going to fill the rest of this tray with, ooh, these are not so big. That's right. No, so big. That's right. It's crazy how you forget the size of things, and they're black too, right? How you forget the size of things after an entire year. Oh, I might want to get my toothpick out. Okay, get a toothpick out. Toothpick! Inside my cupboard is a disaster area. I might need to turn on some lights too. Alright, so 2 per cell. Now you do not need to see me do this, but I'll just do a few and then I'll move on to the stock, and then I will come back to this later because this is boring to watch. Okay, so I just did 2. I remember I did 2 right there. All right, now sewing stock into a trench, totally easy. Cinchy, cinchy, cinchy. So this is iron blue. This is going to be my 3rd succession of stock, so I'm going to finish up these seeds today so I don't have to bother with putting them, and I want every last one. And the thing that stinks about stock is I grow it for a selection. The single blooms are lovely, and you know, there's nothing wrong with them at all. But they're not what I want, and they're not what I want to have to spend my time planting, and they're not what I want to have to spend my time take up my space in my garden. So I'm not going to keep the single in another video. I can show you exactly how I basically take away all of the ones that are going to grow single bloom, single petal. It's really easy. I have about 90% success with it. Every once in a while I still end up one or with a few with single petals, but for the most part I get my big, beautiful, full double bloom stalk, which is what I want. So I will show you that when these little babies have germinated and matured, probably in about 2.5 to 3 weeks. These guys are pretty fast, and their transplant super easy. So that was 2 rows. I might have to do even a 4th succession because I have more of my pink stock than my blue. So stock is done. Here's my pink stock, antique pink. It's gorgeous. Love it. All right. Oh yeah, I have a lot more of this. Yeah, I bought 500 seeds of this, so I'm definitely gonna do a 4th succession of this. But that's okay. The more the merrier. I love stock. It is so beautiful and it's fragrant. Even though I can't smell a blessed thing. Nothing. I got COVID back in November. And my Thanksgiving meal was the last thing I could smell ever again. I mean, I get little whiffs and hints of things here and there. But for the most part, nothing. I'm really hoping that I'll be able to smell this basil because I love the smell of it. And this stock is just so fragrant. I remember it very well from last year. But oh, it's so sad. I can't smell it all, and my taste is affected. I mean, I can still taste some things. I can taste salty things and sweet things, and I can taste sour and bitter, but I just don't have any flavor recognition. But I can't tell the difference between root beer and Coke anymore, or like orange soda and Coke. It like all just tastes like sweet, syrupy liquid. So it's sad, but anyway, I'm dealing with it. I pray about it all the time, and it'll come back when it's time for it to come back, and that's all I can do. So anybody else out there dealing with it, I'd love to talk to you about it. It's not an easy thing to go through, that is for sure, but it is what it is. So all right, so this is done. Again, did I just see one that was uncovered? No, maybe not. Okay, so again, don't want to water my seeds. I'm gonna water it in. And this is the last time I'm going to water it. This is the last. I will not water this again until I transplant these. So this was a nice deep full tray of soil. My plastic wrap is going to keep it nice and moist for several days. Even after I take it off, this will still stay nice and moist. These babies are gonna grow. And then when I'm ready to transplant them, that'll be the next time they get watered. Until then, this is it. Okay? No more water. That is something that too many people do too often. Watering too much can be detrimental. Could you imagine what your feet would be like if they were constantly wet? Just constantly wet, never dry. Well, that's how these guys feel when their roots are constantly soaked. Okay? It makes them sick. They need I water every 3 and 4 days. That's my next video. My husband has already generously filled up my water jugs, and I've got my fertilizer right there. I'm going to show you how I fertilize. And I water every 3 and 4 days. And that is it. And I will talk to you about that in the next one. Until then, have a great day. I'm going to finish sowing my basil here, label it, put plastic wrap over it, put some plastic wrap over this, and just plop it somewhere where it doesn't need light. All right, have a good one. Talk to y'all later.